expensive investments at this time. I'd like to see us do better planning in the future, that we can do the right thing when we need to, make investments when we need to.
Some of the spending that I see, let me give you an example, and I've used this before in other shows, so people have probably heard it before. But I've got a road, a dirt road, about 300 yards long that I have to travel coming off of asphalt to get to my driveway.
Right.
The county, I've lived there since 1997. The county has spent probably 15 to 20 times the cost of paving that road in maintenance.
Yeah.
They keep maintaining.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Thank you. That makes my point, because that is going on not just on your street.
No, that's just one example.
Yes,
but
it is.
That's going on all over the county and throughout the government.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And it's ludicrous.
It is, and that's why we need citizen involvement to study this thing and get the real facts.
Yeah.
What are the real costs of all the options that are out there to help us with transportation, with education, and all the key issues, healthcare? We've got to look at all the options without the interest groups putting down their heavy hand.
Yeah.
You know, we need study of these things, and we need citizens that don't have a bone to pick. They're looking at it. That's of, by, and for the people. It's not just for the people. It's of and by.
Yeah, yeah.
We got to do our part. We got to be there.
And I got to blame some of that on the folks in the audience.
Well, yeah, I mean, you said it.
We're not getting the education.
Yeah.
We're not paying attention.
But that's what you're doing this for, right?
That's what I'm doing this for.
You're helping educate people, and there's always that group in the middle. You've got your worker bees or interested people on either side of the aisle, but the majority of people are smack dab in the middle, and they're not getting educated, but it's their responsibility to do so, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Well, when I'm out and about during the day, and I travel the entire county every day, I'm out somewhere in the county.
Right.
And someone always wants to start a political conversation with me.
Really?
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
And they're very opinionated.
Oh, yes.
A lot of these people are. They really have strong opinions.
Oh, yes.
And then I said, by the way, could I see your voter registration card?
Yeah. Do they have one?
Oh,
well,
sadly, I haven't voted in 20 years. Well, you know what, please?
Yeah.
Shut up, because your opinion doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to sit here on a stool and complain and complain and complain, but what are you doing about it?
I know.
You're too lazy to even get out and go to the polls.
Yep.
And it couldn't be made easier today.
I know.
You've got
early voting.
Absentee voting,
Yeah.
you've got early voting, you've got all of these opportunities.
Yes.
But you proudly proclaim, I didn't vote in 10 years.
Yeah, and
It's your fault.
that's terrible. I mean, we can't accept it.
No, we cannot accept it. We've got to educate these people, give them a good, swift kick in the butt.
Yeah, and I believe in that. I mean, I think, us holding our fellow citizens accountable just as much as government is important. We need to tell our fellow citizens, we're going to lose it all here. We're going to lose our state, our country, as we know it. Our freedoms are being eroded. And if we don't step up and get off our comfy couches, get in these budget hearings, even just the things on a local level that affect you, you've got to understand what's going on, and we've got to teach our children the importance of voting. Voting's a habit. If you don't have the habit, I'm afraid it's hard to reestablish it later.
I've got a granddaughter that's going into her 3rd tour of duty in the Army.
Oh, God bless her. Oh.
And my feeling is when you don't get out and vote, you're slapping our military service people in the faces.
No question about it.
They are fighting for our freedom.
Yes.
They're dying for our freedom. And we don't do a thing about it to support them at home.
Yep.
It's wrong.
Eddie, don't you think, I believe that we as citizens we may not have an equal sacrifice because we're not over there, in the conditions they are, but if we can't go and vote one day over 365, we can't do that. We can't get off our comfy couches and go to one budget hearing and open the budget and see what the government's doing, ask a few questions. We must sacrifice. That's why we're losing things. You know, I have people say to me all the time, you know, well, I can't come to the meeting because I've got to take my kid to ball practice. Well, so do I.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to find a way to monitor my government. But I think, you know, I was lucky. My parents, when I was young, we had many trips to Washington as a family, and we always went to Arlington National Cemetery. I've been there probably a dozen times in my life. And I'll never, I mean, I get chills just thinking of this right now. I mean, the sacrifice that, not only the grave sites that represent those, you know, veterans that served and died, but the family members, too, of those folks. The sacrifice. We can't do our little part here at home? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that, I'll tell you.
Well, I was stationed in Arlington.
Oh,
I was in the
were
Marine
you?
Corps
Really?
for about
Okay.
6 months.
Oh, what an honorable service.
Well, I wasn't doing something so honorable there. I was working in the PX.
Yeah.
But my barracks was, the windows in my barracks looked out over Arlington Cemetery.
Oh, what a, wow. Oh.
To see, frequently, to see the caissons come through and the funeral processions going through.
That would rip my heart out.
Sold all the time, all the time. And actually, I was happy to leave there.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it was a very emotional place to be stationed.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of things going on there. It just irritates me when people don't get out and do their. Voting
is a minimum. Yeah.
Voting is not a privilege. To me, it's an obligation. I've watched this country go down the tube for probably since the 50s. It's been slipping and sliding, and we've been letting it happen.
Yes, we have. We the people.
We the people.
Yep.
It's our own daggone fault. As our district representative, what kind of issues will you be able to have influence with or work on?
Well, you know, as we somewhat have discussed, my key issue is reducing the size of government.
Right.
Reinstilling fiscal accountability. You hear that buzzword how many times? I mean, it actually means something to me, and I've actually had a record of insisting upon it. You know, I've been involved, you know, with the political process, the government process, you know, my whole life for 30 years. I got my start working on the Ronald Reagan campaign in college 30 years ago, and so, you know, I just have taken my responsibility seriously, and I'd like to encourage and rally the troops, rally our fellow citizens to do that too. But I you know, beyond that, I mean, really, reform has to come across all areas of our government. I mean, we're in tough times here. You know, like Thomas Paine said, these are the times that try men's souls.
Yeah.
I mean, and we're here. But healthcare, education need huge reform. I mean, we are facing some serious unsustainable programs here with Medicaid. It's an essential program. It's an essential program for our indigent care out there. But many people may not have thought about, like, the long-term care, the folks that are in nursing homes. 95% of the people in these facilities, I'm told, are reliant upon Medicaid. Now, guess what? We have a huge baby boom moving through the pipeline. That's going to bankrupt our system. We have to figure out some checks and balances and see how much our citizens' personal responsibility has to come into play in taking responsibility for some of their own care.
You're in the medical field. I've often felt that sometimes medical expenses are way out of line also. Way out of line. What do they charge you, $5 for an aspirin now in the hospital?
I don't think it's that low.
Not that low?
No, probably not. Oh.
So I think that the medical profession has a lot of work to do to clean up its own act.
Oh, no question about it. No question.
The cost, let's say the cost of a
mammogram even.
Well, a mammogram. The machine they put you in.
Oh, the MRIs?
MRIs.
Oh, yes.
All right.
Oh, yes.
I know those are extremely expensive.
Yeah.
And yet I heard a couple of gals who work in a medical facility here about 6-8 months ago talking about sitting around joking about how they were playing in it.
Oh.
They were in there and they were doing their own MRIs.
Oh my gosh.
And they were taking turns. Now, there's people out there that can't afford to get one of these things to save their lives, and these girls working there are treating this machine like it's a toy.
Yeah. Well, we've all heard stories like that, but you know, one of the things, having worked now as a healthcare executive for quite some time, I have kind of drilled down into where this starts. And what I'm seeing, this is my, and I could be wrong on some fronts with this, but I think I'm right. Hospitals and healthcare providers are getting it socked to them. When I took a tour of the new Memorial Medical Center when it was opening, I think that was 2 years ago this summer, and they gave us a tour of like the operating rooms, and they were pointing out how much this overhead light cost, and I was absolutely aghast. And I started looking into that because I'm on the foundation board for Florida Hospital. Because I said, you know, why aren't these vendors contributing back to our hospitals? Because, in my opinion, they're gouging hospitals.
Sure.
And then this has to be passed along to the patient. So you're talking this hugely expensive equipment, but does it really need to be that expensive? Because somehow that same equipment and those same drugs are being provided cheaper elsewhere around the globe.
Oh, yeah.
So something's wrong here.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I don't want to pick on one, but I'll tell you what, these vendors are gouging the healthcare industry, and it's affecting us as consumers, as patients.
Why can't the healthcare industry
say no?
Say no?
Well, see, government is just starting to realize that themselves. You know, they're realizing, oh, okay, this consultancy or this water study we're getting done, we're not going to pay $600,000 for it, but they have to insist. That's what I'm hoping our elected officials that we elect are going to do for us. In fact, they should be doing that.
So this is something like our local government who buys $5,000 toilet seats.
They have to insist, I'm sorry, we need to find a vendor that wants, and I did this in DeLand. I raised a point many times, but I remember one about a chain link fence around our sewer plant. I said, why are we paying 10 times the amount for this chain link fence around our sewer plant? Well, it's the only bid we got. I said, well, we need to get more bids.
Maureen, this half hour has gone by very quickly.
Yes.
And we're going to wrap it up here pretty soon. Here's the thing. We're going to have you back next week.
Awesome.
You're going to be on again next week.
Thank you.
This is Maureen France, candidate for District 28, House District 28. I'm Crazy Eddie. This is Volusia County Issues. We are dedicated to taking care of Volusia County issues, to making people aware of what's going on, and to keeping people informed. So for now, thank you very much. Have a great day, and we'll see you next Sunday.